Hello friends, we are Digital World Computer and today we are learning about PL SQL. PL SQL stands for Procedural Structure Query Language. PL SQL tutorials basic and advanced concept of SQL. PL SQL is a block structured language that can have multiple blocks in it. Before learning PL SQL, you must have the basic knowledge of SQL and programming language like C language. PL SQL is integrated with Oracle database. The functionalities of PL SQL usually extended after each release of Oracle database, although PL SQL is closely integrated with SQL language. Here we discuss about the concept of PL SQL. PL SQL stands for Procedural Language Extension to SQL. Here you can see you have a minimum knowledge of a programming language, that is any language like C, and you have the basic knowledge of SQL, that is a basic structure of query language to interact with the database. And through these concepts, through the programming language and the SQL language, you can run the PL SQL commands. Know about the PL SQL environment. Here we have a PL SQL code. We bring it here. Here this code is executed in the PL SQL engine, in which a PL SQL block is existing, and this PL SQL block is converted and integrated the statement in two formats. First, it gives the procedure or the code in the first format, in the procedural statement executor, and the second SQL format going into the SQL statement executor. Here the extracting board and the SQL statement executor checks the SQL query, and procedural statement executor checks the procedural query. Here the procedural statement executor compile the code, and SQL statement executor interact with the database. You can see that procedural statement executor check the validation of SQL statement. Validation of SQL statement. It checks it is valid or not. If it is valid, then run the query. If it is not, then thrown out from the blocks. A procedural execution compiles the whole code into the SQL statement executor format. It means it is validated when we have to give a insert statement, and we input a procedural, a loop, a simple loop existing on the insert. Then it check that it is valid or not, or it will check it is declared or not, or it will check either this have any exception or not, because the block structure only have three categories like declaration, coding, and the exception handling. And in these three blocks or three sub blocks, it have a insert query, that is the SQL statements, which is the interaction between the database and the queries. So procedural statement executor only check the validation of the SQL statement. So in starting we will say the PL SQL is the combination of SQL statement and the programming language. Now, benefits of PL SQL. Integration of procedural construct with SQL, improved performance of the SQL statement. Either when we inserted the user data from the database, that is inserted one by one in the SQL statement. Either it is very easier way to insert the data at the same time through the PL SQL statement. It will modularize program development, integration with Oracle tools, portability and exception handling is the main and the best feature in the PL SQL statements. Next, we have a PL SQL block structure in which it has the 4 points. Number first is bind variables. We will discuss the bind variables in later chapters. Declaration, variables, cursors, user defined exceptions. We will also learn about these terms in the later chapter. Then it begin the code in SQL or PL SQL statements, then exception handling and action to perform when error occurs, and end. This is the PL SQL block structure. Bind variable have the global scope. Declaration is the optional part. Variables, cursor, user defined exceptions and many other literals are used in this session. Begins SQL or a PL SQL statement for the inserting and the changing and modifying of the database. Exceptions, it is also optional if a user or well programmed user is use the exceptions in many programming language, and the action to perform when error occurs. So this is the block structure of PL SQL statements. In the next chapter we will learn variables, cursors, literals and byte variables also. Thank you for watching us. Please subscribe, like or comment our videos. Thank you.